DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.
So it's that time of year. I'm due for an oil change. We just have our new vehicle here and did a very long road trip. Our oil life is down to about 10-15% or so we're going to go ahead and do that. The difference between this oil change and what we've usually done before is we are going to be using another additive to help out and give us longer life. This is a newer vehicle, however, we want it to last even longer. So we're going to take the regular oil change procedures or steps, and then we're also going to add that additive to it in the end. So some of the basic things we're going to need for this oil change is going to be a funnel to add all the oil. We purchased this one from Walmart, and it's actually a much larger one designed to take these large 5-quart bottles. So when I plop this in here upside down, it sits in there just perfectly and makes it a whole lot easier to start filling your vehicle using these larger bottles. It's going to take much less time. It also does come with a filter. We haven't used this one yet, so it has a filter right here taped to the side. We can drop that right down in there, and that's going to help prevent other contaminants from getting into our oil. Another thing we're going to need is the oil that we're actually going to be putting in the vehicle. So we're going to be using, we decided to try out this time the Castrol Magnatech GTX. And this stuff is being advertised right now to be much better for your vehicle on startup where most of your wear and tear occurs. So being that we're in an extreme cold climate up here in Alaska, and a lot of the wear and tear occurs on startup already, and then add negative temperatures all the way down to -40, -60 as it gets a little bit further into winter, we're really concerned about the wear and tear on our vehicles, specifically the engine, and we're hoping that this is going to be able to reduce some of that during this time. We also have our new oil catcher or oil pan that we're going to be using. What this is going to do is it has our large catch basin right here, and then all the vehicles that we've done before, multiple trucks that I've had, usually the oil plug is facing kind of horizontal with the ground, and so when you take out that oil plug, it starts shooting your oil across the floor. So this is going to give us a larger catch radius than our other previous pans did. And then it does have the drain to go into the main body here, and this will hold 1.16 quarts is what it says right here on the side. So that's going to be able to hold most of this is going to be able to hold all of our vehicle, or all of the oil from this vehicle, and then again from our oil from another oil change from another vehicle as well. We also have the air spout to help it drain a little bit easier. And after we get it all filled up, then we do have the other drain hole here so that we can recycle it, take it over to an automotive place, and have them recycle the oil. Another thing we have is I'm actually going to take that oil pan and drain it into this one, and I'm just going to carry this right into the business. That way I can continue using my oil pan on multiple vehicles, and if I'm lazy, haven't taken the oil in to have it recycled yet, then that's what this is going to be for. It's going to allow me to continue on doing what I'm doing. We have our oil filter. We're just using a Fram Tough Guard right now. There's different types of oil filters that you can use. We were hoping to use a different one which would prevent dry starts. However, they were sold out, and I'm kind of in need of getting this one done pretty quick. So we're just going with this one for now. We can swap it out later as needed. I can do another oil change, no harm to that, and it doesn't cost very much. So we're going to go from there, but that's our oil filter. I do also have right here my oil filter remover. So this particular one just works off of my ratchet, and so whenever I turn it left, it's going to grip down on that filter, and then it's going to take it right off. The last thing we have, and this is the additional step that we're going to be taking this time, is the Lucas Oil Stabilizer. So the mixture of this, as you can see on the back, it has the directions for it. It actually says it has different recommendations for different types of vehicles or cases. So we're gonna, it advises to use for regular engines, fairly new, 20 to 25% mixture. So if I have 4 quarts, then I'm going to do 1 quart of this. And then for engines worn, which is a specification we're going to be doing, it recommends 25 to 50%. So I'm still going to run right around 25-30% on this additive. And what this additive does is it helps eliminate dry starts for your vehicle, and it also is much more viscous, and it's going to help the oil run much more smoothly in your engine. It extends oil life, so you can run it a little bit longer. Not that you'd really want to, but it helps your oil while it's in there, making sure that your engine stays nice and lubricated, reduces friction in the oil, which can also improve fuel mileage as well. So has a lot of added benefits. They come in different sizes. We actually have this large one. And then there's this 1 quart bottle as well. So we can refill them as needed. I'm going to be doing 1 quart added. So I'm going to dump this in there, and then I can refill it from this other larger bottle. So that's how we're going to decide to do that and keep on doing it from now on. So those are the basic things that you're going to need. We're going to go ahead and get started. Okay, step 1 for the oil change on our 2500 HD GMC Sierra is going to be to locate the oil cap fuel station. So we do have our oil dipstick right here. A lot of the time you're going to find your oil fuel station or oil fill station right next to it. And most of the time it's going to have this symbol right up top, and then it'll kind of tell you which weight of oil it recommends you use. So I've already twisted that off, loosened it, so we're just going to take that right off. The reason why we're taking this off first is because we're going to, when we get down and loosen the drain plug, it's going to allow flow circulation to go right through, and it's going to help the engine drain the oil better. Step 2 for our oil change on this truck is identifying your drain plug and fuel and oil filter. So we have our oil filter that is right here. You can see a little bit of oil already coming off of it. And we back off, and you can see that is going to be our oil plug. So that's just on the bottom of the vehicle right here. You can see we have heaters running to the pan, so we have another one also up on the oil pan as well, just because we're in a colder climate. So these are some magnetic heaters sticking to the pans. That just helps us during startup. So we've found our oil pan now and all the components there. So the next step we're going to have to do is, with our drain plug or our drain pan in place, we're going to take off the drain plug. So we'll just put some gloves on, and then we're going to loosen that, and then take that out, inspect it, and make sure that it doesn't need to be replaced, and just let that drain into our pan until it's done. Okay, so we just got our gloves on, and we're going to be working on getting out this oil plug. So we're using a 15 millimeter wrench right now. I did loosen the plug already just because of the confined space. Couldn't really do it with one hand on the camera. And make sure that we're positioned here to catch all this oil so it's loose. Then we're just going to use our hand to do the rest. I prefer to use kitchen gloves like these that go a little bit further up the arm. Depending on the style of engine you have. Some of the vehicles I've worked on have the oil plug that faces straight down, and so it'll come right down your arm when you initially start draining it. And the same thing can happen when you're working on your fuel filter or your oil filter as well. So we just took that out, and we're going to allow this to drain. A good step for this a good step to take before you do this as well is to let your engine warm up just slightly. Do not let it get to regular operating temperatures. It can definitely burn you, but let it warm up just slightly, and that's going to help that flow out a little bit better as well. Okay, so we have our drain plug here, and what we're going to be doing is just looking at it to make sure that there's no harsh wear and tear. So we're going to look around these edges. It's a little bit blurred right now, and we want to see if they're going to be stripped. These are rounded just slightly. However, I didn't have any troubles with it when I was using my wrench to get them off. So that's going to be fine for now. And then we're also going to be looking at the threading on this plug to make sure that there's no contaminants inside of it. So we've already cleared it off with a clean, dry rag. And so I don't have anything that's residing in the threads, and none of my threads are actually stripped. The end of it is fine. It's not altered in any way, smashed or whatnot. If somebody ran over it, would have hit it with something. So, and we have seen that before, but this looks to be a pretty good shape for this oil plug. So we're just going to allow the truck to finish draining for now from the regular oil plug panel, and then we'll go for the oil filter. Okay, so our oil area is drained now, just kind of dripping, so we do have the pan under that still. We're going to start working on the oil filter. So first off, we're going to see if we can loosen it by hand, which we can. So we're going to go ahead and work on that. I do want to scooch this pan over just a little bit more. You can see it's already starting to drip. And this is why I like to have the longer gloves. With all this oil, it can start dripping down your arm a bit, so I prefer to have them just a little bit longer. And these also have extra grip on them to help them when it's all grimy and whatnot in your sink, so it also helps you get a little bit better grip here as well. So we just got that off. We have the oil filter drain area, and so we're going to work on cleaning that up a little bit. Again, we're going to use a clean, dry rag. After we have that cleaned up, then we're going to get our other filter in position, and after it's fully drained, then we'll start with the procedure on putting it all back together. So getting our next filter on and then getting the oil in there. Okay, so we just removed our oil filter and our oil plug. It is draining right now, so we're going to take that time to prep our new filter. So we have the new filter that's right here, and first thing we're going to do is take some oil. I'm actually going to use some of the stabilizer that we're going to be using. It has a little bit easier pour spout, and we're going to prime our filter. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to run it along the edges here, and then the seal. I'll spread that around with my finger here in a bit too, and then get some inside too, just a little bit. And you can spread that around on the seal, and that's going to help it when you put the filter back on, so that it seals a little bit better as well. Now all we have to do is wait until it's done draining, and then we can put, all we have to do now is wait until it's done draining, and then we can put our drain plug back in and our filter. Okay, we've pretty much got everything drained and our oil filter is prepped, so we're going to go ahead and put that back on. So you're just going to put it right up there and start screwing it on. So you just need to get it to catch, hand tighten on. We're going to get it to a point here. Most manufacturers just recommend that you only do a hand tighten here. If you do it much more than that, then you can tighten it a little bit too much. After you start to use it, it'll warm up and it may be extremely hard to get off afterwards or next time you do an oil change. So just hand tighten these. So I do have a little bit of oil there on the outside. We're going to clean that off. And then for the drain plug, what you need to do is, we already have ours back in, as you can see right there. But what you need to do on there is look up your specifications for torque, and that's going to change per your model and make of vehicle. And so just use a torque wrench to get that back in there. So we've already done that. So both of our holes are now back in place. Our drain plug's in and our oil filter is in place. We're just going to wipe that down. Then we can go back up top and start filling it. Okay, next step we're going to take is going to be to put our fluids in. So we're going to start off with our 5 quarts of, again, we're going to be using this Castrol GTX Magnatech. For our particular vehicle as well, we need to be looking for the Dexos approved brand. So we're running that, and right now we are also currently going for the 5-weight 20 full synthetic. We're only at about 80,000 miles, so we don't need the full synthetic right now, but we're just kind of trying to get a jump on it and make sure that our vehicle is going to be running as smoothly as possible for as long as possible. So that's what we're running right now. So we'll just take the cap off here, put that down out of the way, and we'll get this flowing in. You will also have to look at the specifications on your vehicle as far as how much oil you need to put in. We're going to be putting right around 6 quarts. So we're doing the 5 quarts of this Castrol oil. We're going to be doing 1 more quart of the oil stabilizer. That's that Lucas oil. Then we're going to start up the vehicle. Let it run for just a little bit, filter throughout everything, and just cycle through the engine. We'll then turn it off, wait about 15 minutes or so, and then check the oil levels again. Another thing we need to make sure that we do is whenever the vehicle is running, after we have this oil in there, we do need to make sure that we don't have any oil leaks. So I'll get back down under the truck, and I'm going to be checking my oil plug to make sure there's no leaks around that, as well as my oil filter, make sure that everything was put on there as tightly as it needs to go. So we have pretty much all of our Castrol oil in there. So now we're going to work on our Lucas oil stabilizer. So this is a synthetic oil stabilizer, and it also does make say on here, it's a nice new disclaimer they have, won't void any warranties if you put it in here. DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself. DIY with Chris, giving you the tools to do it yourself.